Hello and welcome to Relax and Renovate. I'm your host, Zach Galenzi, and today we're going to be going over a tile backsplash in a new kitchen remodel. Stay tuned. All right, so you might be wondering why I'm not in the kitchen right now. The reason that is because I spend a lot of time focusing on the job that I'm doing and not wanting to stop to make video footage of it. A lot of these jobs are done inside a customer's house, and so I have to get in and get out with respect to their time because I don't want to be in there shooting videos while they're in there trying to live their life. So I'm going to be kind of pausing intermittently to tell you what I'm doing, what's going on, and then explain some of the processes that I'm going through, and then I'll cut back to the video footage to be able to show you how that plays out. Okay? So the first thing that you want to do when you start a project is you want to assess the layout of your job. So in this case, it's a three-part installation. One is the backsplash in the kitchen, and then I have two bathrooms that both have backsplashes in them. So I'm going to be working in the kitchen first because I like to take the biggest project and get that out of the way and then move on to the smaller ones. And the way that I start it off is if the customer wants the border outlined in some sort of metal trim piece, then I'm gonna go around to all of the different jobs and put the metal trim in first. That way I have my well-defined border before I start. This does a couple of things. It allows me to pull the saw out one time, make all of the cuts that I need to, and then put that saw away, rather than, go and grab it, cut, and then put it away, and then grab it and cut and all that. The other thing that it does is I'm using adhesive glue to stick them to the wall, and so I want to give that glue time to really set up before I start that part of the process. So it's kind of a critical thinking, time management thing that really helps me lay my jobs out and help them run more smoothly. So this next shot, I'll show you a picture of getting all of the metals cut and whatnot. One of the things that you want to make sure that you have is a sharp blade that is specifically designed to cut aluminum, because you don't want to try and cut those metal trim pieces with a regular carbide saw blade that is made for wood or something like that. And I wouldn't really recommend using a metal blade either, like a cut-off type wheel, just because aluminum tends to want to stick to a cut-off wheel a little bit more so. And this regular saw blade that's made to cut aluminum does a really nice job, as long as you have some sort of backer that you cut up against to keep the flimsy parts from catching or binding the saw up or kicking back. So check this out and you'll see what I'm talking about. So now that all of the metals are installed, we can move on to mixing our mud and getting that ready. The mud generally should sit for 10 to 15 minutes after you've mixed it. That's what the instructions recommend. So I've always kind of done it that way. And the next step is to get out my laser level and put a level line across the kitchen backsplash wall, and then we can get started on our tile. Now, this customer wants to have a brick pattern done using her 4x8 tiles. And so I'm gonna cut a couple of pieces directly in half. That way I can start off my brick pattern on the left-hand side of the wall with one full piece on the bottom and then a half piece on top of that. And then I can start building my brick pattern. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, you want a little bit more details about how I actually did that? I'll show you. Okay, now that I'm done cutting around all of the outlets, it's time to move on and finish it up by cutting the edge pieces closest to the metal trim. To do that, I have two different tools. One is a clinker, or it's a tile scriber. I've been calling it a clinker for years, so that's what I continue to call it. The other tool that I have is a benchtop wet saw, and really the only reason why I have that is because certain tiles on your layout have to be cut with a smooth edge. That way it looks professional, because if you use a clinker, you're going to end up having most likely a jagged edge that's also sharp that you're going to want to clean up, and that way it looks more professional. So I'll show you what that looks like right here. Okay, so that wraps it up for the kitchen backsplash wall. So far, both backsplashes in the kitchen are done, so I'm going to move on to the bathroom. First, we're going to do the smallest bathroom, and then we'll do the largest bathroom after that. You'll notice when I'm doing my layout pattern on the back wall, I'm going to install the back wall first. But I'm not going to start with a full tile and just run the tile out, because sometimes you can end up with a tiny little strip on the far corner and it just looks ugly. So I'm going to do a rough estimate of the center, and that way the finished product will look nice and professional. Check it out. Well, that's it for the day. I finished the other kitchen backsplash wall, and I finished both bathroom backsplashes. So for the next video, I'll go over the process of putting the grout on the wall, and you'll be able to see some of the techniques that I use. Grouting is not too difficult of a task, but there are different things that you can do, little tips and techniques that you can use to make the job a whole lot easier and cleaner for yourself. Hey, Andy, what are you doing? I'm not a jungle gym, buddy. Are you having fun? This cat is crazy. She has no boundaries. Thanks for being here. You've been watching Relax and Renovate. I've been your host, Zach Galenzi. Take care and have a good day.